So, what really makes a person noble? Is it the family they come from, or is it something about their character? Today, we're jumping into a 2,500-year-old story from a Buddhist text called the Ambaṭṭhasutta. And let me tell you, it features one of the most brilliant and savage intellectual takedowns you will ever come across.
This whole story really drills down into one big question. And it's a question we're still asking today. What's the true measure of a person? Is it all about the family you were born into, your social status, your lineage? Or is it about something deeper, something you cultivate yourself? All right, so let's set the scene. We're in ancient India, and the Buddhist fame is just exploding. His teachings are spreading like wildfire, and they're definitely ruffling some feathers, especially among the old guard, the established religious powers. So, you've got this guy, Pokharasasati. He's one of the most respected Brahmin masters of his time, a real heavyweight. And he starts hearing all these incredible things about the Buddha. He's curious, for sure, but he's also pretty skeptical. He needs to find out if this new teacher is the real deal. So what does he do? He gives a mission to his absolute star pupil, a young man named Ambaṭṭha. Now, you have to understand, this kid is not only brilliant, he's an expert in all the sacred texts, but he's also got an ego the size of a mountain. His job is to go and test the Buddha, to see if all this hype is actually deserved. And, well, the second Ambaṭṭha shows up, you can just feel the tension in the air. This is not going to be some polite, philosophical discussion. Oh no, this is shaping up to be a real confrontation. Ambaṭṭha finds the Buddha, who is seated. And right away, he starts with the disrespect. Instead of sitting down, he just stands there, pacing back and forth while he's talking. Now, in the culture of the time, this was a massive insult. It was like screaming, "I am superior to you," without saying a single word. The Buddha, completely calm, just points out his rude behavior. And this simple observation makes Ambaṭṭha absolutely lose it. He just explodes, launching into this furious verbal attack, not just on the Buddha, but on his entire family clan, the Sakyans, calling them basically rough, uncivilized servants. And to justify this rage, he makes it super personal. He claims that he once visited the Sakyan capital and they totally ignored him, didn't even offer him a proper seat. You can just feel the wounded pride, right? His entire tantrum is based on this one time he felt his high status was disrespected. Okay, now this is where it gets really, really good. The Buddha's response is just masterful. He doesn't get defensive. He doesn't get angry. Instead, with surgical precision, he completely flips the script. He asks this incredibly simple, disarming question. So, Ambaṭṭha, what's your family lineage? It sounds so innocent, right? But it's a brilliant move. He's taking Ambaṭṭha's greatest source of pride, his ancestry, and putting it right at the center of the conversation. And Ambaṭṭha, totally puffed up with pride, proudly announces his clan name, the Kanhayanas. He has absolutely no idea that he has just walked straight into a perfectly laid intellectual trap. This, right here, is the turning point. The Buddha starts to lay out a little history lesson about both of their families. See, it all starts with a king named Oggaka. His sons were exiled, and they're the ones who founded the Sakyan clan, the Buddhist people. But now listen closely. In that very same royal court, there was a slave girl named Dīsa. And then the Buddha drops the bombshell. This slave girl, Dīsa, had a son named Kanha, and he was the founding sage of Ambaṭṭha's own supposedly noble clan. The man, so proud of his lineage, just found out his entire clan was founded by the son of a slave girl who served the Buddha's own ancestors, the very people he was just insulting. And just like that, Ambaṭṭha is silent, absolutely speechless. His whole argument, his arrogance, his entire sense of superiority, it was all built on this foundation of his high birth, and the Buddha just completely demolished it with a single historical fact. So now that Ambaṭṭha's prideful attack has been totally dismantled, and he is finally quiet, the Buddha has the room to teach the real lesson, the lesson he wanted to get to all along. He lays out two completely opposite ideas of what makes someone worthy. You've got the standard view, the Brahmin view, which says your worth is decided the moment you're born. But then the Buddha puts forward this radical new idea, that true nobility has nothing to do with birth. It comes from within. It's about what you know and how you live your life. He even has a specific term for this ideal in the Pali language, Vidyacharana Sampanno.
It basically means a person who is perfect in knowledge and conduct. And let's break that down because it's important. Vidya isn't just about being book smart. It's deep, supreme wisdom. And karna is about your actions. Perfect moral conduct, living with complete integrity. For the Buddha, this is the real gold standard. Then the Buddha delivers this killer line. He says, hey, even if you only care about lineage, the warrior class is considered the best. But when you look at the big picture, among all beings, gods and humans alike, the person who is truly the greatest of all is the one perfected in wisdom and conduct. It's a total mic drop.
So what's the fallout from all this? How does this ancient story and its resolutions still manage to challenge us today? Well, the story has this amazing ripple effect. Ambaṭṭha goes back to his teacher, a completely humbled man. His teacher, Pokarasati, is at first just furious that his student was so arrogant and made such a fool of himself. But that anger makes him curious enough to visit the Buddha himself. And after hearing the teachings, he too becomes a devoted follower.
So when you boil it all down, this story is so much more than just a clever debate. It's a powerful, timeless argument against prejudice of any kind. It's saying that judging people on things they can't control, their family, their race, their social status, is just fundamentally missing the point of who they are. Which really leaves us with a question for ourselves, doesn't it? The Buddha made his case that true worth comes from wisdom and conduct. But here we are, thousands of years later, still wrestling with the same kinds of prejudice. So it's worth asking, in our own lives, how do we decide who is worthy of respect? And what criteria are we really using?